Kenny, question. What about CP3?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Around the Association. Now, the Phoenix Suns have evened up the series with the Denver Nuggets, and that's all good and well, except they were missing their all-star future Hall of Fame point guard, Chris Paul. And honestly, seems like they are looking a lot better. From my synopsis, looks like they're playing with a much better pace where Chris Paul likes to manage the game and slow walk the ball up the court. That's not really, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they don't really need that. They are actually gunners. So they want to get the ball up court on their end so they can strike fast. And Charles Barkley, he asked Kenny Smith a very interesting question, and it took Kenny Smith a little bit of time to answer. Like, what do you do whenever you bring Chris Paul back into this fray after you were down 2-0 with Chris Paul? Chris Paul missed the last 2 games, and you're at home and you win 2 games. Now the series tied 2-2. If Chris Paul is thinking to come back, what do you do? And this is what Kenny had to say.
Kenny, question. What about CP3?
Well, CP3, when he comes back, for me, he's the closer. Because when the game is in a game that's particularly going to be 5 points or less, he's going to play better than.
But what about the pace?
The pace of the game, he's got to realize and say, at some point, I got to figure out to play faster.
Yeah.
I think he. One thing he is he has the ability to think it and do it possibly, but he has to play faster. And he has to see that these guys are playing at an unbelievable pace. Typically they don't play.
Because like I say, he's been out the last 2 games, and he probably starting to think about coming back now.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to say like, oh, man, we need to play faster, because when Katie and Devin, they can get shots off quicker. They don't have to go 5-on-5.
And I think CP3 is so used to getting guys a shot. Like, I'm waiting on you. Give it to you. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He can just get off the ball faster, much faster with these 2 guys, and let them play from free throw line to free throw line.
Now, I agree with Charles for actually bringing that up, because that's a good point. Chris Paul, his pace and style of play that he traditionally does, like what he's used to doing is setting up teammates and all that. Katie and Devin Booker are the type of scorers. They do not need that. So it is fair. Chris Paul's going to have to adjust his game. And I do believe with Kenny too, like, he can do it. I feel like Chris Paul, CP3 is smart enough to do it and can figure it out. But he's going to have to, because pace is what they have, right? I mean, Denver has the better big, so they have more influence in the paint as far as what Nikola can do, and Nikola can go inside and outside, but he scores so easy. His touch around the paint, it's not always layups and dunks, but anywhere, the little floaters, the guy has game. So what they can do, Nikola's not the quickest, so DeAndre Ayton's going to have to commit to running real hard. Like, when he gets scored on, he can't get discouraged. He has to play with a whole lot of energy. Now, if Nikola Jokic is out suspended for Game 5, which, he made contact with the fan, and that's going to be hard. I'm interested in seeing what the NBA say as far as looking that over now, whether you agree or disagree, whether the fan kind of deserved it, being that, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, he tried to hold on to the ball. However you feel about that, I don't think there's a space where you can say, oh yeah, at that point, then the NBA player can elbow the fan, because you set that precedent. Because Ron Artest was laying on his back, had a water thrown on him. He wasn't even going into the crowd until then. So once you set that precedent, it's kind of hard to walk it back. Like, the fan was just keeping the ball away. Well, at that point, were you supposed to then go get the ref, have him go get it? It's a slippery slope once you set bad precedent. I didn't feel like, the malice in the palace, and maybe I'm an outlier here, but I didn't feel like they should have been suspended to that degree. Really, the fans should have never been allowed to back to an NBA game. But Ron Artest, not taking someone throwing water, soda, beer, whatever, came flying at him, that was disrespectful to a level where, you got to ask people stop being human when you allow somebody to just throw a drink on you. But let me know what you guys think, man. This is going to be interesting coming down the stretch. I really hope to see, just a good series. I mean, I love to see Denver win. I love to see Phoenix win Game 6. And then we hit Game 7 in Denver for all the marbles. I think that would be a good way for this series to go. Let me know what you guys think. I'll be checking the comments.